Hello. I'm happy to be here at the Empire State Aerosciences Museum. I'm Kevin Millington, the Board of Trustees. I'm here today on Saturday, January 14th, 2012, with one of our best volunteers, Bob Crandall. This is a continuation of our series of video interviews of some of our great volunteers and area residents. Bob, thanks for being here.
You're welcome.
For joining us. Oh.
So when the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor, well, that was December 7th, 1941.
A day of infamy.
A day of infamy is what Roosevelt said.
Mm-hmm.
And
where were you on that day? What do you remember about that day?
Well, what I remember, I was in school, and the loudspeaker came on that the Japanese had attacked Pearl Harbor. And like I said, I was a senior in high school and graduated that spring from Fort Ann. All of us were very feeling of being patriotic. So my buddy and I went down after school and signed up in the Navy.
That very day?
Well, actually, it was 2 months after I graduated from high school.
Okay.
I remember coming home. My mother said, "Where have you been?" I said, "Mom, I'm in the Navy." She said, "What?" I said, "Yeah. Tom and I went down and signed up for the Navy today." But I said, "Don't worry about it, because we won't be going for quite some time." 2 weeks later, they called me up and said, "Report in Albany next week." So that was my start with. Now later on, as we were protecting these islands here,
yeah.
What we did, we had general quarters flew, and my position, as I said, was in Radio 2, just underneath the flight deck on the fantail.
Mm-hmm.
I was running down the second deck, and the curtains on the carrier were up. And as I was running down, I looked up like this. I saw 2 torpedo planes coming right in at us. And they have a belly gunner on those torpedo planes. And they were shooting, and we could hear the bullets going over the top of our heads. So we all laid on the deck like this.
Oh, that was a scary moment.
Right. And one of the torpedoes hit the ship, but never went off.
Ah, how fortunate.
The second one, the captain had shifted the ship, and it missed the forward part of the carrier. So actually, none of those actually hit.
I can imagine that was very noisy too, because
it was pretty.
The aircraft carriers, of course, had a tremendous amount. It
Noisy.
must have been throwing up an awful lot of anti-aircraft fire. And,
right. So that was one of another battle that we were in.
How many planes attacked, do you think?
We probably had launched 50 planes, around 50 planes.
How many Japanese planes do you think attacked?
I would say they used to come in and maybe 20 at a time. And like I say, keeping in mind now, we had the battle wagons here firing.
Mm-hmm.
We had the cruisers firing.
Mm-hmm.
We had the destroyers also. So they had quite a, when they flew in to hit they wanted to hit the carriers. They
mm-hmm.
weren't interested in these other ships. They wanted to get the planes.
So the primary target was the aircraft carrier.
Yes.
And then I would assume then, Bob, that if, say, 20 Japanese attack planes
yes.
Attacked, that several would have been shot down. Your
yes.
defensive screen of the other ships and the carrier itself would have, and the fighters from the F-6
right.
Hellcat fighters would have
right.
probably downed a number of planes on a typical strike.
I would say, actually, in the book that I'm doing, I have the actual number of planes on a specific date that were knocked down.
All right.
I was at one time, we were 7 months at sea and never touched shore. 7 months.
Really?
7 months.
When you were at sea that long, Bob, how were you replenished?
Well, we had fuel. Planes come in with the ships come in with a plane when we refueled.
Mm-hmm.
Everything was flown in like mail, and our food was all flown in, so we could stay out there for 7 months and never touch shore. Hard to believe, isn't it?
Yes, yeah. Gee, that was a long deployment.
Yeah. I was going to give you one other idea of being under attack.
Yeah.
About 6 months after we were hit that one time, we were up here in the up in this area, the Sea, Japan, around here.
Here, let's give Josh a little.
Sure.
Okay, so you were going north from the Philippines,
Yes.
moving closer to Japan, and the Sea of
Right.
Japan is...
Right. See, what happened with the Japanese, as we pushed them off these islands, they were becoming, well, we might say, very concerned about the progress that we were making in these islands.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened was this. This is our first kamikaze attack that I can remember. It was about 7 months after we were in the Pacific here.
Mm-hmm.
About 7 months. General quarters sounded. Again, my area was back in what we call Radio 2, just underneath the flight deck, port side.
Mm-hmm.
And we were getting all the communication in, and all of a sudden, they struck. And I can recall all our communication was severed at that time. We actually had nothing to do.
Bob, tell us about what a kamikaze was.
Okay. Anyway, the plane which came in, I was going to show you here on this photo.
Oh, what damage.
This is where it hit about 20 feet from where we were in Radio 2.
Okay. So the background on it with the kamikaze was a desperate means of the Japanese to deliberately fly the planes into the carriers?
Yes.
Or the ships?
Yes. And what happened, like I say, we, 3 of us in the radio communication, actually had nothing to do. We were knocked out. So what we did, we went up to the flight deck. And there were seven planes that never got off at this time.
Did you have any advance warning of this? Any radar coverage?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we were all in our battle stations.
Okay.
But when it went up on the deck, I can recall I had a helmet on. The smoke was coming back so thick here that we could hardly breathe, so we put on our gas masks. We had gas masks and life jacket. I can actually remember my shirt was out of my pants, because we did everything so fast at that time. First thing that I did, we had 7 planes that never could take off because of the damage.
When you had the limited, but you had some warning of this.
Yes.
Did the Franklin launch their Hellcat fighters?
Yes.
To intercept?
Yes. So 7 of them couldn't get off. So what we did, we climbed up and helped the pilots out of their planes. When this hit, they get flash burns in their eyes from the flash. So what we did, we treated the pilots for flash burn, got them out of their planes, and then we took the planes and threw every one of them over the side. 7 of them, 7 planes. We just pushed right off because they were all loaded with high-tech.
It must have been I can imagine just a chaotic.
You can imagine.
Horrifying instance of especially on the deck of an aircraft carrier.
That's
fully fueled and armed planes on the deck, and
you can imagine.
And just the chaos of a kamikaze blowing such a.
The first thing the pilot said, we got to get rid of these planes. So we pushed them all off the carrier. Now we were trapped back there on the fantail. I had 7 pilots and 3 of us in Radio Shack. And this, of course, happened about 20 feet from where we were. This one here.
Bob, this is a picture of your carrier.
Yes.
So the fantail would be back here. The rear of the carrier is here.
There's where the bomb hit. Right
okay,
there.
Right there. Detonated right on the flight deck.
And we were in Radio 2, about 20 feet away. Kevin, if I was in that 20 feet, I wouldn't be here today. Mm. And when this happened, we lost 72 men. Were killed at that time.
You said that the crew was about 900? Oh,
we lost 72 men at that time. Of 2 of my best buddies, that morning we were eating breakfast. And by 2 o'clock in the afternoon, they'd been killed.
So this attack occurred around 2 o'clock in the afternoon?
Around 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
This was late in the war, probably 1944, 1945?
Right.
Okay.
So anyway, they came over the loudspeaker and they told us that we cannot get to you men back here now. And what we would suggest, we want you to jump off the carrier, and there was a destroyer following us, and we will pick you up with the destroyer. Mm. Now you can imagine all the guns blazing and pilots flying around and so forth. So the pilot said, no way should we jump off. It's 80 feet to the water. 80 feet. And if you jump off with your helmet on, it'll break your neck. When you hit the water, the helmet would actually break your neck. And then you can imagine a destroyer stopping in the water with a battle going on, picking us up. So we all said, no way. We're going to write it out.
Not a good idea, huh?
Write it out.
Yeah.
We were there, I figure, Kevin, we were probably there about 5 hours before they got to us.
Were the Japanese planes still attacking?
Yes.
Did you see?
Oh, yes.
Besides obviously feeling the concussion, did you see the?
We were right on the back of the carrier here. Mm-hmm. Guns blazing. I think it's one of the reasons I lost my hearing almost at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah.